What does a Formula One car sound like? Let's find out.
Zoom, vroom, vroom.
Well, how is this for a podcast location change, guys? I'm in Italy, specifically Tuscany. And even if we want to narrow that even further down, I'm in Lucca, which is, you know, if you've been to the Leaning Tower of Pisa or have you heard of it, it's not far from there. I am in Europe again. Oh, Shokara, I am traveling again. And as much as it would have been nice to be at the Dutch Grand Prix, I couldn't be at the Dutch Grand Prix because it was my best friend's hens this weekend. It was actually yesterday. I'm wearing the sunnies because I'm just going to insert a photo video here for you to watch, and then you might understand a little bit more. So it is incredibly surprising that I am even able to do this. And also, this is the second time I've done this, by the way. I recorded the first one and I did it on Riverside, and then the internet decided that we don't like you in regional Italy and it didn't want to upload. So we're trying again in a different format. Hopefully this works. If this doesn't work, I'm not doing third time's charm. It's a little bit hard, but yes. And there's a little bit I want to discuss. I want to try and treat today's episode a bit like a group chat, if you will, because my group chat's been popping off. I mean, I think also a lot of that is because my friends are like, excuse me, why are you only in Europe for 5 days or whatever it is? But here we are. We're here. Wedding tomorrow. I am about to check out. So currently I am sitting in a pool cabana by the pool because I'm about to move to some different location, like a different hotel for the wedding. But let's get into it of what's been happening in F1. All right, well, first off the bat, Max Hewley, 2030. I was not expecting him to sign until 2030. I mean, look, he's come close to saying that he was more closer to retiring as per se in the F1 because he's just obviously not been happy with the 2026 cars and the power units and the regulations and all of that sort of stuff. I thought maybe he might go for a driver swap somewhere, but that definitely wasn't going to be in his case, I guess. The thought was McLaren at one point, but even Zach Brown came out and said, no, there's no seat for you here, mate. Like, there's no spare seat, which then makes me also question Oscar Piastri because I could see him going into Red Bull still. I still stand by about that. But like I said, and I've said many times before, Max isn't staying till 2030. Yeah, he signed a contract, and contracts are contracts, but contracts are broken all the time in F1. How many times have we seen a bloody contract be broken? There'll be clauses in there. I can see him wanting to say to test out the waters of, you know, the power unit changes that will unfold and constantly change again, and who knows what's going to happen with those seasons. It could be exactly like this season. So, by the way, I'm so conscious everyone in front of me is having breakfast also by the pool, and I'm just sitting here in a cabana talking to my camera. A lot of confidence, guys. This just takes it. So if you haven't already subscribed and liked, make sure that you do, and please share this with someone so we get the love of Paddock 43 around. But yeah, Max Verstappen, very interesting, and also then devastating to be at his home race and the very last home race of the Dutch Grand Prix, and for him to crash out on turn one. Luckily, he walked away fine. The car was not fine. The whole situation was shit. Put it that way. It was, especially being in lap one. Topic number 2, déjà vu. So Isack Hadjar broke his wrist boxing. He must have been hitting that hard, or his wrist weren't wrapped. I'd actually love to know, but I'm sure he's got personal trainers that say, you got to wrap your wrist. But breaking your wrist, he caused quite the flow-on effect because it meant that Liam Lawson stepped into Red Bull as a result. And the déjà vu that I'm talking about, well, I want to say it was Danny Clarkson, by the way, that notified me of this. And it's just been in my head ever since. So Danny, if you're listening, thank you for pointing out this parallel universe of what we're about to explain. But remember how Liam Lawson actually started his F1 career? It was because Daniel Ricciardo broke his wrist at the Dutch Grand Prix. So the flow-on effect and the deja vu there is quite hilarious. And then Liam moves back into the Red Bull seat and all of that. But I think the absolute kicker was that, well, not quick kicker, exciting kicker, I guess. I don't know, what do you call that? Just a flow of excitement was that Yuki Tsunoda was back on the F1 grid, especially just as the rumors literally this week in the last 7 days have been that Yuki is going to be moving to a contract in IndyCar, which by the way just took a huge donation from the Trump family, but I think that's a whole different scenario of what is happening in motorsport in America. But Yuki obviously raced. It was amazing to see him back. He got a lot of racing done. He did a sprint as well. So what a weekend to come back to. And he's even publicly come out and been like, guys, F1 teams, look out for me. Watch me. I want to come back. So the flow-on effect has been incredible. I don't know how long Isack is going to be out for. I think it's probably a fractured wrist, 6 weeks. I don't know. Could be driving in 4. We'll see. So we will see Yuki in the seat for a little bit longer, which is exciting. And I know Haley from Principal Label, our brand, was super excited. She even, I was at the Hens, and I noticed that she put on free Yuki hats all weekend. I was like, babes, we've got to actually sell those things. So when things like this happen, things at Principal also happen. So the flow-on effect is there. Right. So next up, guys, topic number 3, new team principal, Cadillac. We didn't discuss this last week because last week's episode was with the beautiful Esme Buxton from the Paddock Journal. But Cadillac did a team principal swap halfway through the season. So they've actually replaced Graham Loudon, and excuse my pronunciations here. You know me. I'm the worst at this, with Marcin Budkowski. Well, let's just call him Budkowski. That sounds like beer, actually. It was effective immediately. So a new team, no points this year, and you're just shifting out team principals halfway through the season? That sounds stable and fun and reasonable. Cadillac are calling it a planned leadership transition, doing a lot of the work for what reads as a straightforward sacking. That's what that was. And Badowski's background is 2 decades in F1, and most recently he was actually at Alpine as executive director, and he left there in 2022. So I'm actually not quite sure what he's been up to the last couple of years. I don't have his LinkedIn on hand. I don't know him that well. It will be really interesting, especially because Graham, he built that team from scratch since 2024. He took them through that entire launch period and the full debut season, which has obviously been this year. Has it gone well? No. Were we expecting it to go well? Also no. But it just, there is a historical pattern of a mid-season team principal sacking that is basically feels like an F1 tradition at the moment, and I don't know if it's the right move. I guess it's just the super political environment. Last time we saw a midterm sacking, we had Christian Horner. He was sacked by Red Bull 2025 after 20 years. Given no reason publicly, read between the lines. Everyone knows what happened there. Gunther Steiner couldn't get enough money from Gene, obviously. He was axed from Haas in 2024, and you know what? Now he is thriving, so good on him. I mean, Christian Horner as well. We might even see him back on the grid. What's the rumour still with BYD coming back on F1? I mean, I thought he was going to take on Alpine, to be entirely honest, but then the pairing with Louis Vuitton for next year doesn't make sense at all. And in Alpine, 3 team bosses changes in under 2 years. That happened. And apparently one of those calls was via Zoom, by the way. Can someone fact check that? I mean, pretty rough. I don't know if it was COVID times when that happened. 2022? I think we were past COVID then. Definitely weren't in Melbourne, but other places. Can't remember. And then in Ferrari, 2014, so this is going a little bit far back, but he was resigned 3 races in, and then there was another replacement within 7 months of that as well. So has that ever worked well for anyone? We will find out. As the 11th team on the grid, no points this season, the sacking its founding team principal before finishing its debut season is either panic from ownership or a genuine bet that he just wasn't the right move for the next phase 2. But is there any phase 2 for the rest of the season? We only have a few races left. Well, a few. We have 8. 2 of those are still up in arms. 9? 9. We have 9 left with 2 of them still up in arms. I don't know if that's actually going to make any much of a difference until next year. Couldn't you have just had someone in the background just silently moving things under? Either way, it's team boss changes. They almost never fix on-track performance mid-season. So it's definitely a next year problem. And as we touched on earlier, why was that the last Dutch Grand Prix? A lot of people, I think, have been a little bit confused about why it was the last Dutch Grand Prix. I mean, the F1 calendar changes. It changes all the time. We're seeing plays for, what do we got? Thailand, South Africa, Portugal, Turkey. The return of many incredible tracks there. But the Dutch Grand Prix came back in 2024 and they always said 2026 was going to be their last year. It was very much a financial decision because they, as a promoter, so F1 themselves, might throw in some money, whatnot, and all of that. But Zandvoort, so the Dutch Grand Prix and Silverstone, are actually the only two races on the calendar with zero government backing. Every other race has the local government involved. So in Australia, at the Melbourne Grand Prix, it's actually the Victorian government, so our state government. So it really doesn't look good on, the financial sheets at the end of the day, but it's also great for the economy and tourism and growth overall. So Dutch Grand Prix were just like, we can't put this on anymore. It was fully privately funded and every single day just has to sell out to break even. And with the rising cost of living, I don't blame them as well. And also set up logistics. I think in a minimum 6 weeks, but really it's setting up for months in advance to build a circuit each year, and ones that don't have permanent facilities there already. I mean, at Albert Park at Melbourne, we're already building our setup for 2028. God, I can't remember what year we are. So there'll be a whole new paddock building. I mean, it's all been knocked down at the moment. So you need these permanent facilities. You also need to be able to use those tracks for other things throughout the year. That is why Silverstone, despite it being a privately funded track, it is constantly used. It is a home and a hub of motorsport around the world. The kicker, though, with what happening with the Dutch Grand Prix, it was Max's home race, and obviously it wasn't a successful home race for him, but he'd also announced he will stay until 2030, so a lot going on there. And I guess we're going to also discuss something from the Dutch Grand Prix, and that was Lando's win. I mean, some people just go, was it just like a legit win or was it handed to him? Got to give credit to Lando boy. Comes in from the hottest Euro summer party time, saying he doesn't drink, by the way. Insert that photo there. And then comes out with pole. Good on him. He started on pole. He lost the lead to Antonelli at the restart after Max's crash. And then he proceeded back-to-back overtakes over Kimi and Hamilton. And then on lap 54, it was his. Norris actually called it one of his better wins. And you know what? I agree with that. I don't agree with, though, that the fight is still on for championship battle. Lando is not in it. Mathematically, everyone else above him would probably just have to fall out completely and Lando win every single race and sprints. Oh, maybe not sprints, but I just cannot see that working. I know there's a lot of journalists out there framing it like the title fight reignited. No, it's not. Not with him. Anyway, like, are you serious? Do we need to look at the standings? Because Kimi's on 242, George was on 183, Lewis was on 183, behind on, no, is he 183? Need to double check that one. This is going off the top of my head, guys. If this is wrong, this is why. And Lando is 159. So, like, that's a big difference from Kimi, right? Am I crazy in thinking that? And then Charles is obviously, and then Max and blah blah blah. Everyone goes down. Weird. Absolutely weird that they think that that title fight is back on. It was also a really sad day for Oscar, by the way. I just got to touch on our homeboy because Australia, McLaren. I just want Oscar to come back. I just want him to come back. I want him to have a good race, and I also want to see him on pole this year. I just, after the last year of what he went through, he 100% deserves that. He had a semi-quiet weekend. He did well. He's not doing badly. The thing is in F1, you are not doing well unless you're winning. Like, that is like the shitty reality of this sport. No one actually cares unless you're winning. Like, you know, he qualified fourth, he ran in the pack, he came back sixth. It was nothing dramatic. It just wasn't his weekend. And to know that he's not in this title fight absolutely pains me, because I thought last year, after what happened last year, I was like, no, this year, 2026, is going to be Oscars, yeah, baby. It was not, which it just breaks my absolute heart. But what's not breaking my heart is Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari. I love how well that whole situation is going. Also, come for me, because I love Lewis and Kim together, and I love that they're documenting their relationship. I mean, he's notoriously a private person, right? He's never really one to speak about his relationship. There are rumors about what this relationship actually is, that it's a contract. Blah. Just let love be love. You know, they seem happy, or if they are friends, whatever, they seem happy. It's, you know, a pairing that understands each other. You know, she's a lawyer now. Well, I can't remember if she actually passed the bar or not, but she's got kids, she's philanthropic, she's got everything going, and busy schedule, and the world's always watching her. Likewise for Lewis, they get it. And all the loved up summer posts, fantastic. But the reports are saying Ferrari is set to confirm that Lewis's contract extension around Monza, by the way. So look out for that. I think it's going to be the same playbook as the Verstappen home race type situation. Lewis is not staying until 2030. He is. I'm sorry. Maybe he is. No. I stand by that he won't. Alonso definitely shouldn't be staying until 2030. Alonso, I love you, but Aston Martin needs a whole clean-up of their drivers. They just need to switch everything right up. But I think the contract for Lewis will sort of be structured as a 2+1 deal for 2026. Like, I think he signed something similar back in 2024 when he did this, and it's going to be guaranteed until end of 2027. It'll be one of those clauses. He'll want to win in Ferrari, do some more amazing things. He's done some amazing things this year. He's having a great year. That Kardashian curse is broken for anyone else. Oh, lovely breeze coming through, and I can also smell pizza. Ooh, sorry, distracted. Italy, guys. Italy. But yeah, and with Charles, he's locked in past 2030. I think Ferrari's lineup is basically sealed for a few years, and I think Ferrari probably need to keep it that way. I think they need to really focus on what they're doing, some sort of more team logistics, organizational skills. I mean, I have no comment because I'm driving on Italian roads at the moment, and I went past the Ferrari factory the other day, and I just sort of looked at them and I thought, I wonder what you're actually doing in there, because how Italians operate is just a whole other question. I also do think it's funny, on a side note, that Pat is also in Italy. She is on a family holiday, but they're in Rome. And when I go back to Rome, she comes to Lucca. Like, so we just completely miss each other. We're like ships in the night, which is bloody annoying. But like I said, I'm only here for a few days. It was a fly-in, fly-out situation, which I would never recommend that Rome-Perth to flight economy. That was the worst idea of my life. I don't know why I didn't just decide to fork out like an extra $1,000, $2,000 to go for premium economy. In hindsight, I will never fly economy again. I'm going through the Middle East to get back home. I don't want to get stuck. I got stuck a few weeks ago coming back from the UK. I just don't want to get stuck. Anyway, well, guys, that is, I'm going to wrap it up here, leave it there. Going to love you and leave you because I need to go check out. I need to go pay for my bar tab from the multiple Aperols that I've had sitting by this for the last 48 hours, minus the hens Aperols. And I also need to edit this and also get prepped for next week's episode. So next week we have two very special guests. One guest that we've already had on the podcast before, a good friend of mine, and a new guest. So they're going to be my co-hosts for the day. I need to send them what we're doing. I don't know if I should tell. Oh, I'll tell you one. So we've got Carl Reiner back on. We've had him on the podcast before. And we'll leave the other one as a surprise. But if you have any questions for the F1 medical car driver that you want to pre-submit, go for it. And I'm sure we'll all gang up on each other and we'll talk F1 and who knows what else is going to be coming up. But thanks for sticking around. Also, by the way, does everyone love the new profile picture? Can you give me a thumbs up if you do? And don't forget to subscribe, share. Tell me where you're listening from. Is this from Italy? I don't know. Let me know. All right. Love you guys. Bye.